Good, beautiful Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the HR Cafe, Usapang Trabaho, Buhay, Iba Pa. Today is October 9, Sunday, and now we're at your weekly weekend habit. The topic for today's HR Cafe is how HR can win the war on talent. In today's challenging work environment, how to win talent is key to every company's success. Especially right now, bear seasons, napakaraming companies ngayon ang nangangailangan ng mga extra workforce to help them during the holiday season. And a lot of companies are now opening up and needs talent. So competition for recruiting and retaining top talents has never been tougher. That's why effective leaders need a winning strategy to win the talent war to attract, retain, train the best available talent in the marketplace. And this is what we'll be discussing for today's episode at the second part of our program. My name is Coach Darren Rivers, and welcome to the HR Cafe. The HR Cafe is an online talk show program aired every Sunday at 3 p.m. And we're sponsored by the Philippines HR Group. My name is Coach Darwin Rivers. I'm the president of the Philippines HR Group. I'm a certified life coach, public speaker, and motivational speaker. I'm also the vice president for HR for a BPO company. And joining with me today, of course, is our constant Mentors Tina Coang. Mentors Tina is an operations and HR leader with broad local and overseas experience. She's a general manager of a retail company, best known also for her online content, tinaandmanila.com, and one of LinkedIn's top 100 Filipinos in LinkedIn. Hello, Mentor Tina. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday! Magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. I apologize in advance. Medyo paos po ang aking boses, pero never fear, I am still here. And welcome to everyone who's watching, lalong-lalo na sa ating early bird na si Daday Kalahe Dino who is watching from Paranaque. Welcome! For anyone who wants to be shouted out at the show, please leave your name, where you are right now, your company name, and your message. Maybe to your family members. So, yan. Coach Dar.
Okay, let's go on to our show. We here at the HR Cafe, we provide timely news and updates. We impart knowledge and experience that are value adding and beneficial to you, our audience. That's why we make sure that we invite the best of the best in the industry,
Mm.
and we have, of course, our guest resource or guest speakers to discuss different topics for for the consummation and additional knowledge for us. We discuss also new technologies, tools, and processes, as well as industry's best practice. If your company is hiring, please post it at the comment section, and we'll be happy to announce them. We would like to ensure that um, we connect applicants and employers, and we bridge understanding between employers and employees, and end of the day, to provide inspiration and motivation to the Filipino working community. Now, we start our program always. We've been doing this for more than 2.5 years. We start our program with our wow quote for the week. And the wow quote for the week that we have right now is coming from Bruna Martinuzzi. She is the author of The Leader as a Bench, become the kind of person others wants to follow. According to Bruda, hire people who are smarter than you are, whose talents surpass yours, and give them opportunities for growth. It's the smart thing to do, and it's a sign of high personal humility. Let me just repeat this. Hire people who are smarter than you are, whose talents surpass yours, and give them opportunities for growth. It's a smart thing to do, and it's a sign of high personal humility. What's your take on this wow quote for the week. How does this wow quote for the week resonates to you? What's your understanding? How does this affects you? Or you may give examples, audience. We'll be happy to share it to our live audience right now. Let's start with you, Better Tina.
Sa akin, ang matalino na tao ay yung tao na alam niya marami siyang walang alam. Okay? 'Di ba sinasabi natin sa Pilipinas parang yung, "Ay naku itong boss ko maraming alam." Know it all. But true intelligence, true wisdom comes in knowing that you do not know it all. Kasi when you know na may kulang ka pa, diyan lumalabas talaga yung will mo para matuto ng panibagong knowledge. A lot of us believe that sa pagtapos natin sa school, ay nako, magsasarado na tayong libro, hindi na tayo mag-aaral. Pero totoo lang, 'di ba tayong mga recruiters, right? 'Pag nag-i-interview tayo tapos sinasabi ng tao ng newly graduate, "Oh, marami akong alam, marami akong nagawa sa school, marami akong contributions, napaka-successful ko sa works ko." I know in the back of the recruiter's mind is like, "You know what? You don't know yet. That's only the tip of the iceberg. Everything that you know, book knowledge lang. Pagdating mo sa work, pagdating mo sa trabaho, dun mo talaga malalaman na wala ka talagang natutunan sa school." And it's a very humbling experience. Like even for me na nakapag-college graduate na, nakapag-masters na, nakailang certification exams na, there is one thing I know, pagdating mo talaga sa working environment, lalong-lalo sa Pilipinas, really have to start from scratch. You have to humble yourself, learn everything from the ground up. And then after that, through experience, saka mo lang ma-realize na, ay, parang nung time pala na yun, nung kaka-graduate ko lang, wala pa talaga akong alam lahat na natutunan ko puro sa trabaho. And with that, it's very important. Pag ikaw boss ka, 'di ba? Mag-isa ka, magaling ka. Pero even if magaling ka, you cannot be successful in a company. Kasi isa ka lang eh. The best leaders are those who are able to hire, train, and delegate the responsibility to a group of people. Because when a group of people work, magic really happens. Kahit for us, 'di ba? There's only 24 hours in a day. So talaga, after a short amount of time, pagod na tayo. Pero, if we're able to maximize other people, parang we can like use more of their efforts. Tama po ba yan? Sorry, Mika. Sorry. So with that, I'd like to greet those who are watching us. We have Macy Manalastas watching from Cavite, Jane Nedge watching from Palau, Micronesia, Marlon Arizobal, happy blessed Sunday, and Marie Cris Soriano Venluan watching from Mactan Island, Cebu.
Sorry, I
Muted
was
ka,
on
coach.
mute. I was saying Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, and all the way from Palau, Micronesia. Maraming salamat po sa lahat ng nakikinig ngayon. Ako for me, for this particular quote, normally, I would, what I've observed, uh, this normally happens during mid to executive interview sessions na kung minsan yung recruiter or your hiring manager, whenever they do interviews, ang nangyayari is they're competing with the person that they're interviewing. 'Di ba? What normally happens is that parang ang lumalabas is pag mas marunong yung ini-interview nila, ang feeling ng ibang hiring managers, nako, masyado itong mapagmalaki, masyadong maraming alam, hindi ito fit sa culture, ganyan. What they don't understand is, or what managers don't realize is, it's really a must that, especially if you're hiring externally, is that you should hire people who has broader experience or than you, or would have the most updated skill set than you, so that it would bring fresh blood. Kaya ka nga nag-hire externally, di ba? To bring fresh blood into the organization. Kasi alam mo na kung nakikita mo na pag magpo-promote ka from within, baka hindi pa hinog yung mga taong inaalagaan mo para para mag-move up. Pero kung mag-external hire ka, it will bring a new culture, it will bring fresh knowledge, and this person will be able to teach the team na hindi mo nagagawa. Kasi marami kang ibang ginagawa, especially if you're a general manager, then napakarami mong work on your plate. So you would need someone who really knows his or her job and who'll be able to successfully train your team and successfully motivate your team. So ako, payo ko lang sa mga recruiters, um, at sa mga hiring managers, if you see someone who's really smart, who's really knows a lot, and who knows more than you, hire that person. But also look for the behavior of that person. Kasi importante din yun, di ba? Kailangan, pag nag-hire ka ng taong mas magaling sa'yo, ang susunod mo tingnan, ano yung behavior ng taong to? Kasi kung yung behavior niya is consistent na high hat siya or tipong ang tingin niya sa sarili niya magaling siya, pero hindi siya yung tipong tao na maaari mong ipag-trade sa mga tao or i-manage yung mga tao or teams mo, then you'll also fail. So, hire people who are smart, but also look into the character and behavior of the person. That's my take on this particular wow quote for the week. Okay, so let us move forward for our HR question of the week. Ito, Better Tina, this has been posted at the Philippines HR group. Marami nagtatanong kasi merong isang instance na may na-promote the supervisor. Nung na-promote siyang supervisor, na-realize niya na ang bigat pala ng responsibility na pagiging supervisor. Tapos, hiniling niya sa management na i-demote na lang siya. Huwag na lang siya gawing supervisor. Nakapirma na siya. Ilang buwan na siya doon sa posisyon na pagiging supervisor. So, ang question din sa atin is, pwede ba ng employee ay mag-request ng demotion? Or pwede ba na ang management ay mag-demote ng isang empleyado? And when we say demote, this will be demotion on the position and rank of the employee. What's your take on this, Better Tina?
So many people want to be leaders until they become one and then they don't want it na. 'Di ba? Kasi ikaw na.
Oh, kasi 'di ba, when they're already in the possession, marirealize nila na kung ang bigat pala ng responsibility. 'Di ba? Marirealize nila na parang, oh, nako, pinangarap ko tong role na to, pero hindi pa pala ako ready. Hindi pa pala, I don't have the right talent, skills, or even the influence. Kasi kahit meron kang skills and talent to become a leader, but you don't have the influence with your people, then you won't be successful. So, can an employee request for demotion? Um, my say on this is, I will again, demotion, promotion is actually part of management prerogative, and management can actually demote someone. If an employee would ask for demotion, ang masasuggest ko is this: have the employee write a documentation that he or she is requesting this particular demotion for the role, and indicate nung employee bakit siya humihingi ng demotion at bakit sa tingin niya hindi niya makakaya yung role. Tapos i-check nyo kasi baka mamaya kailangan lang ng performance improvement plan, kailangan lang ng development plan ng tao, baka pwede nyo pag-evolve. Pero kung wala talaga yung aspiration niya, kasi minsan naman, di ba, especially this happens into family corporations or small and medium-sized companies, ina-appoint lang yung ipopromote. Tapos yung na-promote, hindi pa masyadong ready. So, if that happens, kung wala sa aspiration ng tao, wala siyang aspiration, hindi pa siya ready sa skill set and knowledge, wala siyang influence sa team, then I would suggest that
Hmm.
grant the devotion. Don't know that when we say we devote a certain person, ang nade-devote lang is yung rank and position niya. Hindi nyo na po pwedeng bawiin yung binigay ninyong salaries and benefits doon sa tao. Kasi pag binawi nyo yung salaries and benefits na binigay nyo doon sa tao, kahit na nade-devote na siya, yun po ay papasok. It can be construed as diminution of pay. So that's my take for it. But
All
Ina,
right.
do you want to add anything?
Okay. Patience lang ha kasi yung boses ko. I'd like to first greet those who are watching us. There's Ken Quintos who is watching from Rizal. Jocelyn Pascual also from Rizal. Christian Cornelia is a BSBA HRM student who's watching from Rizal. Ayla Meray, um, Gino Ilustre, Salazar Louis Maylene Korea. Anal, Boca, Gola, and Ken Quintos, who's all watching from Rizal. With this, for demotion kasi, kailangan kasi ng due process. Okay? Kasi demotion can be a penalty or it can also be a request from an employee to an employer. Pero with everything kasi, pwede kasing later on, balik na rin ng employee na sinabi niya na constructive dismissal ka. So if you're a company and an employee requests for a demotion, you have to make sure there is due process, which includes the twin notice rule. Whether or not request niya, kailangan merong cause for demotion. You cannot just say randomly, kasi ni-request niya verbally, tapos gagawin mo. It has to have a letter na hindi niya magampanan yung trabaho niya before and hence that person is requesting for a demotion. You should actually make an incident report regarding this, citing ito talaga yung naging performance niya. And then afterwards, give them another letter nga na dinidemote mo siya. But as Coach Darwin has said, hindi kasama yung mga benefits. A lot of people kasi, ay tumawag lang si employee, tapos nag-request ng demotion. Kasi, tapos later on, after they've done it, tapos babaliktaran sila. And then later on, pag nagreklamo sa dole, magkakaproblema ka. Okay, that's very, very important. So, with everything with demotion, you always need to go through due process. There must be a substantial reason why you are demoting. It must be documented and it has to be clear from both ends talaga. Many people, why a lot of rank and file, they request for demotion kasi rank and file are usually paid daily. And then kasi pag manager ka na, managers do not have overtime pay, holiday pay. They're not even mandated to get 30th month pay. So sa mga tao, for example, na rank and file na mabilis yung pag-akyat, meaning to say within the year, within the 2 years na akyat na to manager, nalaman nila na pag promote pala nila, bumaba yung sahod nila kasi they're earning more as a rank and file employee with the overtime, holiday pay, night differential than they've ever had with as a manager. Tapos ang sakit-sakit pa ng ulo, lahat ng pagalit na punta pa sa'yo, it's not really worthwhile. Yon. So that's the reason why so many rank and file turn manager request to go back na lang to rank and file. Kasi sa totoo lang, if you're gonna work rin, might as well go for the work that you have fixed time and then you get paid more.
Agree.
But given that, I hope that people who are given the opportunity to be managers will grab that opportunity. Huwag tayo masyadong maging short term na magpipili tayo billing yung sa mga account ng overtime pay, holiday pay, night differential. Kasi sa totoo lang, long term, managers typically earn more than rank and file. Let's ask Coach Darwin, 'di ba? Mas mataas pa ang performance bonus than yung binibilang na overtime. Okay, so a lot of us kasi parang from the time na kumuha tayo ng first payroll natin as manager, parang, uy, ba't ang liit? Parang bumaba. 'Di ba? Pero don't look at it from that end. Usually the reward comes after your performance as a manager, which comes at the end of the year. And trust me, it's way more than what the overtime pay is.
Agree.
Right?
Agree.
Totoo yon. So, yon. So, with that,
Okay.
go.
Ang dami
And
nating
with
mga
that,
students, no?
kaya nga eh. So, Melody K. Cambis is watching from Rizal. Raymark Montero Sasot, a very pleasant afternoon everyone watching also from Rizal. Shane Casanyas, Raymark Montero Sasot, and Gino Ilustre. I hope that you will stay for the HR Cafe kasi mamaya talaga si Sir Froilan is a HR leader. Marami kayong matutunan sa kanya about recruitment. Just to remind everyone, SSS is reminding people to please follow their branch number coding scheme. How do you know which day ka pwedeng pumasok? You have to look at the last digit of your SSS number. Para lang yung color coding system ng automobile. So, kunyari, 1 and 2 ka, Lunes, 3 and 4, Martes, 5 and 6, Miyerkules, 7 and 8, Huwebes, and 9 and 0, Biyernes. Parang talagang car coding scheme. So for example, if ikaw may emergency ka, tapos pupunta ka ng SSS branch, you have to make sure that the last digit of your SSS number coincides with that day. Otherwise, SSS has the right to turn you away. Alright? Next po.
Agree.
And this is why napaka-importante po na pumunta sa SSS branch. How many of you have access to your member.sss.gov.ph account? Right? A lot of us know that this exists, yung my.sss, pero a lot of us do not have access to it yet. I'm telling everyone, please register and log into your my.sss account. If you do not have your username and password, please revert back to the previous slide so that you can go to the SSS branch to have your username and password reset. Do not ask us how to do it. The SSS branch will do it for you para mas mabilis. And the reason why you want to do it is because pag meron kayong SSS loan dati, na kinuha ninyo from SSS, nagkaroon na ng interest, nagkaroon na ng penalty, at dahil maraming problema nangyari sa buhay mo, hindi nyo nabayaran at dumobo na po, now is a very good chance to apply for your SSS loan condonation. What does that mean? Hindi ibig sabihin neto makakapag-apply kayo ng panibagong loan. Ibig sabihin lang po is that SSS is giving you a chance to pay off your SSS loans na lumobo na hindi nyo nabayaran. And if you do that, they will waive the penalty. Kasi ganito yun, guys. SSS loans is the cheapest loan that any private individual can get in the market. Calamity loans is only 6% per year. Salary loans is only at 10% per year. In the regular market with your friends, usually it's 5, 6 or 10% per month. Kaya napakamura po ang maghiram sa SSS. The problem po is SSS only gives you 2 years to pay for it. If you do not pay for the loans within 2 years, SSS will charge you an additional 1% per month. For example, kumuha po kayo ng loan ng 30,000 pesos. Interest po ng 30,000 pesos per year is only 3,000 pesos. Correct? But if you don't pay that within 2 years, SSS will charge you an additional 1% per month. So that means magdadagdag po kayo ng another 300 pesos. Okay? 300 pesos. So 1% kasi ng 30,000 is 300, right? 1%. 300 pesos multiplied by 12, so that's 3,006. Add to the interest. That's the reason why lumulobo po ang SSS loans nyo. SSS is reminding us na hindi nyo pwedeng takbuhan ng loan. Kasi pag tinakbuhan nyo po yun, lolobo at lolobo po yan, hanggat pagdating ng panahon na kailangan nyo nang magre-retire, mawawala po yung pensyon kasi kinain na po yun ng SSS loans nyo. So,
Agree.
very, very easy to avail of this loan. All you have to do is access your my.sss account, go to e-services, click apply for loan condonation, either pay for it in full or by installment. Pinakamaliit na pwede nyong bayaran is 10% installment lang po. So, kunyari, ang utang po ninyo lumobo na ng 36,000 kasi hindi nyo binayaran in 2 years, that's only 3,360. And with that, the corresponding penalty will also be waived. And they will give you up to 2 years to pay for the entire loan. So, napakagandang opportunity po yan para mabayaran po ninyo ang SSS loan ninyo, para hindi po makain ang inyong pensyon, maternity benefits, sickness benefit, and all other benefits that SSS will give you in the future. O, 'di ba? Wala naman siyang deadline pa, but I hope that everyone avails kasi sa totoo lang, hindi maganda magkaroon ng utang. And it's so easy for you to get 30,000 today at pagdating ng retirement ninyo, lumobo na yan ng 200,000 because of the interest and penalty. So please, 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 bawal po ang mangutang. Ang mga tao hindi nagbabayad ng utang, ang tawag ay magnanakaw. So pakibayad lang po ang SSS loans ninyo through this program. Very, very good yon. So there, next po.
Okay, update from Pag-ibig. Pinapaalalahanan lang po ng HDMF or ng Pag-ibig na nilaunch na po nila ang kanilang official mobile application. So Pag-ibig members can now view their Pag-ibig savings and annual dividend payments, history, loan balances using the mobile app that the agency has launched. So pwede po itong ma-download sa Google Store. Just look for Virtual Pag-ibig mobile app. It's the official app of Pag-ibig. The mobile app allows members to view their Pag-ibig savings, annual dividends, confirmed savings, remitted loan payments made through all channels and monitor their loan balances, due dates, and the mobile app also can access by members using their virtual Pag-ibig accounts to ensure data protection and security. Ito po ay importante lalo na sa mga umuutang din sa Pag-ibig or yung mga nag-i-invest sa Pag-ibig via MP2. Alam po natin na ang MP2 ngayon ay isa sa mga pinakamalalaking investment mechanism na pwedeng magamit ng mga employee para sa pagsisave ng kanilang pera. Alam natin na si Pag-ibig, ano siya, provident fund siya. Ibig sabihin, lahat po ng hinuhulog natin sa Pag-ibig, pagdating po ng tamang panahon, pagdating po ng retirement, makukuha nyo po lahat ng hinulog nyo sa Pag-ibig. Pero sa MP2 naman, ang MP2 ay ano siya, para siyang time deposit account program ng gobyerno sa Pag-ibig na every 5 years, ano po siya, ini-invest nyo at every year tumutubo po siya ng dividends na up to 8%. So, napakalaki po nun compared sa mga bangko na binibigay lang ay 0.01%. So, if you are a member of Pag-ibig, make sure that you already have downloaded the virtual Pag-ibig mobile app. Also, para po sa lahat ng wala pang Pag-ibig loyalty card, lalo na ngayon napansin ko napakaraming mga students ang nanonood sa atin ng live ngayon from Rizal. Alam nyo po, pagka-graduate nyo, ang unang-una nyong gawin, pag-apply nyo ng inyong Pag-ibig numbers, ay kumuha na po kayo kagad ng Pag-ibig card. Kasi ang Pag-ibig card nyo po, yung Pag-ibig loyalty card, bukod po siya sa identifier nyo sa Pag-ibig na kung saan po pwede nyo makuha yung mga loans nyo through the Pag-ibig loyalty card, ito rin po ay isang discount card through all of the partner establishments of Pag-ibig. For example, sa Hapchan po, nagbibigay sila ng 5% discount. Sa Shakey's, they're offering regular thin crust pizza, free regular thin crust pizza, classic flavor for every order, and also napakarami pa pong iba. So, or if you are an HR of the company, nako, at wala po kayong mga engagement activities sa inyong mga employees, ako sinasuggest ko na kunan nyo ng Pag-ibig loyalty card yung mga employees nyo para magagamit po nila itong discount card sa iba't ibang establishments. Okay? At para maging mabilis na din po ang processing na kanilang Pag-ibig loan at mabilis na rin yung kanilang pag-process. So kung anumang transaction nila sa Pag-ibig. Now, papunta po tayo sa PhilHealth. Pinapaalala po ng PhilHealth na based on Republic Act 10645, ito po ang mandatory coverage sa mga nakakatanda or sa ating mga senior citizens na may edad 60 years old pataas, retirado at mayroong hindi bababa sa 120 months na kontribusyon sa PhilHealth. So, ibig po sabihin nito ay if you are a member of Pag-ibig, yung membership niyo po sa Pag-ibig sa PhilHealth goes beyond your retirement age. So, ang gagawin niyo lang po ay mag-register, at after niyo mag-register, you would be able to avail the different senior citizens benefits. Lifetime na po siya, yung inpatient benefits, outpatient benefits, Z benefits, SDG related sa mga benepisyo, at of course, libreng PhilHealth Consulta Package. Again, ito po ay para sa mga senior members ng Pag-ibig, for your lifetime coverage of your PhilHealth. Make sure that you register and avail of your PhilHealth benefits. Another good news coming from PhilHealth ay sagot pa rin po ng PhilHealth ang COVID-19 RT-PCR test or swab test sa mga balikbayang overseas Filipino workers. So kung meron po kayong mga kamag-anak na OFW na pabalik na po ng Pilipinas, or meron po kayong mga empleyado na pinadala sa ibang bansa at pabalik na po sila dito ng Pilipinas, sagot po ng PhilHealth ang kanilang RT-PCR test. For plate-based RT-PCR test, it's about 800 to 2,800. For cartridge-based RT-PCR test, it's about 500 to 2,450. And ang facility-based rapid antigen test is up to 500 pesos. Importante po ito na malaman nyo kasi po marami nagtatanong kasi kahit na hindi na ganoon kalaki yung cases ng COVID, ang COVID po nandito pa rin. At every day nga tumataas pa din po yung cases ng COVID. So wag po tayong magpaka kumbaga wag po tayong wag po natin isipin na na wala ng COVID. Lalo na kung meron tayong mga kapamilyan galing sa ibang bansa, make sure po natin na mag-take po sila nitong COVID test. Okay? And you can also check for more information sa PhilHealth website or at the callback channel of PhilHealth 0917-898-7442. You can check also the official FB page of PhilHealth and also their social media pages. Now, a word from our sponsors. If your company, your family, or your team members are looking for a place for team building activities, relaxation, or you're looking for a hotel with a beachfront area, El Puerto Marina Beach Resort and Vacation Club is a partner of the Philippines HR Group and HR Cafe. And if you're a member, just reach out to the FB page of El Puerto Marina Beach Resort and Vacation Club, and you are entitled to exclusive discounts and privileges. So, reach out lang po kayo sa FB page ng El Puerto Marina Beach Resort and Vacation Club. They have resorts in Pangasinan, Boracay, and Palawan. Next is that if your company is looking to providing employees of an employee health management program na mamonitor ang health ng inyong employees through a Fitbit or through a wearable application, partner po natin ang eShield. So, lahat po ng members ng Philippines HR Group at lahat po ng tagapakinig at taga-suporta ng HR Cafe, makakakuha po kayo ng 15% exclusive discount when you avail of eShield for your company. You just have to register at the eShield website, www.shield.me/ph-hr. eShield is a partner of the Philippines HR Group and the HR Cafe to promote healthy lifestyles to your company's employees. Okay? And if you have any questions po, alam ko marami po sa inyo ang nagtatanong sa ating mga mentors ng mga questions nyo tungkol sa inyong trabaho, buhay at iba pa. Inaanyayahan po namin po kayo na i-post po ang question na yan sa main page po ng Philippines HR Group. At pinapangako po namin na ito pong Philippines HR Group, this is an avenue where people help you out and share experiences and they will answer all your questions. Okay, so just post it to the main page. Also, if you're in LinkedIn, we have a growing community in LinkedIn. Just go to the group section of LinkedIn and look for Philippines HR Group. Inaanyahan po namin na para po, lalo na sa mga students na gustong ma-review lahat ng mga free seminars namin from the very, very start. We have more than 108 free webinars over the past 2.5 years. Nandun po siya sa FB page ng HR Cafe, Usapang Trabaho, Buhay, Iba Pa. I-like nyo lang po yung FB page ng HR Cafe. Pwede nyo na po ma-access ang free seminars or free trainings, videos. It's also available at the Philippines HR Group YouTube channel. Okay? And
All right.
as mentioned, nandito na po tayo sa second part, sa exciting part ng ating program where we have someone who will be discussing about how HR can win the war on talent. Before Mentor Tina introduce our very special guest for today, ngayong mga panahong to, after post-COVID pandemic, na bumabalik na sa, yung mga industries, di ba? At lalo na ngayong bear seasons, napakaraming hiring na ngayon. At napakarami talaga ang nag-hire. And in the same way, mahirap mag-hire ng mga talents. So, ito pong guest natin ay magbibigay po sa atin ng kanyang knowledge and experience on how HR can win the war on talent. Letter Tina, please introduce
All right.
our special guest.
Before I introduce our special guest, I'd like to first give a shout out to the viewers of the show. We have Jaylan LF. First time watching kahit DHR. Hindi naman kailangan maging HR para manood ng HR Cafe. Baka
Of
next time,
course.
magiging HR ka na, di ba? Inspired. Lovely Panganiban Comya watching from Rizal. Joseph Bancal watching from Rizal. Salazar Louie, may tanong po siya. The mandatory contribution ng company sa pag-ibig is 100. Is it possible po ba na
Yes.
lakihan ng employer yung share niya as additional benefit for the employer? Ang sagot ko dyan is that Coach Darwin mentioned about the Pag-ibig MP2 fund. If the company wants to really help out the employee, it's better to invest it as an MP2 fund na lang than just putting it on the regular savings. Kasi mas mataas po ang balik ng MP2 fund than the regular savings fund.
Savings.
So if you want, what
Agree.
you can do is you can collect all the money into a pot, parang as some sort of a bonus. And what you can do is, is ilagay mo na lang siya as an MP2 fund for the future. So that the person can really use it for the next 5 years. Hindi yung agad-agad paglagay mo pwede niyang i-withdraw. Alright? And it will earn higher interest than a regular savings. Anthony Vertus, watching from Rizal. First time to watch Coach Afternoon watching from Muntinlupa. That is Joy Christine and Doris Duado watching from Jensam.
General Santos.
'Di ba? All Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao tayo eh.
Mindanao.
And this is probably the reason why. Let me introduce to you our special guest na si Sir Froilan, okay? Sir Froilan is a talent acquisition leader with 30 years of HR management and development experience. He is the president and CEO of HR Network and the president and CEO of Polyserve. He is also the board of directors at the Philippine Association of Legitimate Service Contractors. HR Network Incorporated is engaged in third party recruitment services. So they only hire the best candidates for their operation and ensures that the high quality profiles that would warrant the interest of its clients. So for example, if capable po kayo, you might want to forward your CV to Froilan and Froilan will market you to the best companies that will offer you the best price salary for your competency. That's what they do. It was established in August 1999. So HR Network's executive search services has been availed by a large number of local and multinational companies, providing and placing candidates to Singapore, Malaysia, India, Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, and Australia. So sa mga taong gustong mag-OFW, talk to Froilan.
Polyserve Philippines naman is engaged in outsourced business services with a vision of being the top provider of legal service contracting industry. It aims to provide quality, timely, and efficient outsourcing services to clients both on-site and off-site in need for contract-based activities focusing on non-core activities, allowing companies to effectively manage their business. In short, Froilan Florendo is a well-respected talent acquisition guest expert who really knows what he's doing, and he's now going to teach us how HR can win the talent on war, how can win that war on talent and move our HR recruiting woes to wows. All right? And with us, Froilan, welcome to the HR Cafe. And sorry pa usang boss ko, pero makikinig po tayo sa'yo.
Thank you, no, for that introduction. And of course, it's an honor for me always to be part of the studio show. No, this is my second time actually,
Second
and
time, Sir Froilan.
I'm very flattered and honored because, of course, I feel that you trust, whatever I can share to, the HR community. My love for HR actually pushes me always to inspire, the practitioners who wish to traverse also the profession that we're in right now, or the profession that we have. I've been an HR practitioner for 30 years. And,
Correct.
it's always, an honor for me to somehow, build our population as HR practitioners, no? And
Hindi daw halata,
share
Sir
my,
Fantastico.
Froilan.
may kulay. Nagpapakulay na tayo. But anyway, I've been around in the practice, and of course, my love for HR pushed me to set up this business. So,
Yes.
HR Network, HR Network and Poliserve are both companies engaged in somehow recruitment. Both are involved in deployment. Number one, HR Network is on the headhunting services where, we provide uh, our service flow through headhunting activities, and then they hire these people directly. For Polisher naman, it's the usual agency staffing, no, as commonly termed. No? So, yun, no, been in doing this for the longest time, and somehow, no, I can say naman that I have a bit of understanding on how it is to recruit the best talents available, in the land, so to speak. So, I have this presentation, so it's about recruitment
All
challenges. I
right.
share this to I share this, ma'am and sir, no? And also the viewers right now. I share this to one of my clients. It's a group of company engaged in technology services. So it's a 3-point exercise now, identifying, understanding, and resolving. So our woes would be turned to wows.
Okay,
So
Okay.
Sir
can I?
Froilan, we'll give you the
We
floor.
can
Yes,
continue
sir.
na.
We'll be in the back end muna, sir. And then we'll give you the
Yeah,
floor.
yeah.
And then after your presentation, we'll go back for the Q&A. So for everyone who's watching and has questions for Sir Froilan, please leave it on the comment box so that we will read it after his presentation. See you in a bit.
Okay, so good afternoon, viewers. No, so welcome to HR Cafe, and I hope you can pick some good points. No, what I have to share pertaining to recruitment challenges. Okay, so just a brief background about me. I shared earlier, 30 years now actually in the human resource management practice, and then also 20 years as an agent consultant, 22 years as a businessman, engaged in third-party recruitment services as well as source business services and information technology services. So currently, I am the president and CEO of HR Network, and also the president and CEO of Polyserve Philippines. And I also serve as a board of director, handling the position of public relations officer for Philippine Association of Legitimate Service Contractors. So this is an organization. It's a business organization engaged in, of course, staffing activities. No? So ito yung parang sinasabi natin, we call agency staffing. So our learning journey, so we have 6 points now. The last is question and answer. The first one is understanding the great resignation. Second is causes of the great resignation. Third part would be talent wars, the definition of such, and then the top 5 recruitment challenges, and then resolving recruitment woes and look at possible solutions. So take down notes. No? Please feel free to ask questions later, and I'm more than willing to of course, address them. So let's try to understand. this so-called Great Resignation. This has actually hounded the entire world. So, what is the meaning of Great Resignation? The Great Resignation, also known as the Big Quit and the Great Reshuffle, no? As an ongoing economic trend in which employees have voluntarily resigned from their jobs en masse, beginning in early 2021. So this was actually triggered, no, at the onset of the pandemic. So as we understand, there are a lot of stoppages, economic standstill that, of course, uh, enabled, no, the companies, or pushed the companies to somewhat put on hold their businesses. And such thereof, the effect were actually, people pondering on moving on, because of course they have to sustain their work and jobs, no, to fend for themselves, and then this triggered them to explore other jobs that, can help them, no, sustain their livelihood. Okay, causes of resignation, no. As shared earlier, no, the COVID pandemic allowed workers to rethink their careers, work conditions, and long-term goals. No? As many workplaces attempted to bring their employees on site, workers decide the freedom of remote work afforded them during the COVID-19, as well as schedule flexibility, which was the primary reason to look for a new job. No? So what does this say? When the COVID started, of course, there's this trend, no, that called business pivoting. So among business pivoting that were done to address the standstill and of course the limitations of employees going to work, the work from home setup, kicked off. No? So there are certain areas that allow, or companies that allow work from home arrangements, and this somehow has turned the mindsets of employees, no, uh, to have that comforts, no, working from home. So when this happened, and then when the company started calling them back for work, then the challenges started, because of course when work from home was affected, when work from home was allowed, so they became more I call they became more comfortable doing work from home. Henceforth, the standards of their day-to-day activities working was adapted to such a ratio. Henceforth, when they were required to go back to the usual old normal, no, of work on site, then the challenges started. So people started looking for options elsewhere that could offer more flexible arrangements, no, in particular work from home. So according to study, no, conducted by Adobe, the exodus is being driven by millennials and Generation Z, who are more likely to be dissatisfied with their work. No? So, of course, not to discredit these generations that are being described, but according to Adobe in the research, is that among the contributors in the Great Resignation, actually the millennials and the Gen Zs. No? But also, siyempre, there are other people in their 30s and 40s nila, of age. They also have, been part of this Great Resignation. No? So they actually, of course, contributed also to increasing the number of the Great Resignation, the number of people jumping from one company to the next, or resigning from the present employee, looking for other companies where they can find more flexibility in terms of their work arrangements. So this somehow has triggered further the Great Resignation. So the attributing factor, as per research, actually the millennials and Gen Zs, and then of course the 30s to 40s age range. So pandemic experiences led some workers to reevaluate life priorities and reduce working hours or leave the labor force entirely. Employers demanded employees to return to the office after allowing remote work in 2020. So, complementing my statement earlier, or the slide earlier that was actually shared, no, the adaptation, no, or the adoption of the employees going back on-site, became a challenge. And this actually gave them you know, some thoughts of, say, I'd rather go for a company that would allow me to work from home. So there are some people, no, there are some companies that would allow such. But of course, uh, you know, the other, not all industries would adapt to it. So henceforth, they are affected of these great resignations. And, people who had been adaptive or adapted to the work from home arrangements, started pondering on moving elsewhere where their demands in terms of flexibility at work is actually allowed. Okay? So, mistreatment by employers and customers during the pandemic pushed workers to leave as other options became available. So, of course, there's no such thing as a perfect employer. And in some cases, if we're not lucky, we are employed by employers that, mistreat or maltreat, no? Not criminally, but of course, somehow, no, employers have a tendency to force pressure or make their employees work so hard without recognizing them. So mistreatment, now especially during the pandemic, where there are no, of course, special arrangements, that are extended to them, has somehow affected the way employees would think. So they pondered on, why should I work if this company employers would not take care of my needs. In particular, during the time of COVID, especially if you are in the industry of what you call essentials, you're required to, of course, undergo several tests constantly and consistently. In some cases, employers would not allow you to work in absence of, say, a vaccine or a test, no? COVID test. So, such cases, when you talk of COVID testing kasi, it requires periodic schedules, no? For you to, of course, take those tests to ensure now that you're always negative of the virus, So, there are some employers who actually do not, no? They compel people to take the test, but they do not sponsor it. So those kinds of mistreatment has somehow polluted the minds of employees, henceforth, making them ponder on going elsewhere in terms of the job. No? Okay, some people left work because they could not obtain childcare as schools shifted to remote learning. So during the COVID, when the business, especially in the education industry, no, of course, our children, no, us employees and our children will have to continue the schooling. So the business pivoting done by education is that online platform learning. So when this happened, when this transpired, employees were actually able to guide their children, especially on this remote schooling and learning. Now, when these employees were actually required to go back to work, no, this would this actually resulted to a challenge to them because who will now take care of what they call the modules? Who will take care of while doing online learning? So these actually are among the elements that also push employees to ponder on looking for other jobs, resulting to resignations, because they have to adapt to the online learning of their children, and they would opt for, of course, flexible working arrangement, in particular, work from home arrangement, so that they can be with their children while they are doing their online learning. Others also resigned because they wouldn't comply with workplace COVID-19 vaccination requirements. Although this is against the law, no, under the Republic Act uh, 11525, if I'm not mistaken. That law actually is prescribing that, the vaccine is not or should not be considered as mandatory. So, but in some companies, of course, under the principle of management prerogative, they will require an employee to be vaccinated. And in the absence of a vaccination card or in the absence of being vaccinated, then they have to leave. No? Because if you do not comply with this particular rule, then it can be construed as insubordination. No? So management and any employer can impose or revoke that particular rule and then require these people to leave. So these are contributing factors also when you talk of course, the resignation. This is an aspect that, a certain population in the Philippines are not all vaccinated. And as such, these employees were eased out or resigned because of this particular mandate that they have to have that vax card or they have to have that compliance to vaccination. So talent wars. Now let's try to understand the talent wars. No? So definition. So I hope you got some points on the causes, of the Great Resignation. Now we move on to the next topic, which is about talent wars. No? So for us to have an understanding, what is talent war in the first place, no? So the war for talent refers to an increasingly competitive landscape for recruiting and retaining uh, talented employees. It is described not a set of superior human resources processes, but a mindset that emphasizes the importance of talent to the success of the organization. So, if you have an understanding of the talent war principle, then it allows you to have that advantage, of course, on how to win the war. No? There are a lot of this is actually it's not actually a war. War is a negative term, but anyway, it's a competition amongst all companies and industries, industry to industry, competency to competency, because employer A would like to get employer people from employer B. So it's a competition. It's a competition of getting the best breed of people that you would like to employ. No? So having an understanding of this, it puts you uh, somehow it gives you an understanding on how to strategize the best approaches in terms of winning this so-called war on talents. No? Please note, these are not only uh, the involvement would not only entail uh, companies competing, no? You also have what you call soldiers of fortune, which are the headhunters like myself. No? I'm into the headhunting business. So we are part of this and we contribute a lot also in, of course, allowing our clients to win the talent war and defeating their enemies, no, in this so-called war of talents. So we are paid, no, to coach or pirate, no? That's the reality. No, coaching is not a good term. Pirating is not a good term. But in the industry, in terms of our practice and in terms of the business we're in, especially for headhunting activities, we help the clients identify the people that they would like to be hired, no, through us without directly attacking the other employer. They go to us as a medium of how to enable coaching or how to enable hiring from other employers, no, people that they would like to hire. Okay, getting ahead in the war on talents. So, talent landscaping. This involves delivery of a robust map of your competitors within defined target organizations, further broken down into segmented groups of teams in order to allow you to effectively prioritize your future resourcing and recruitment activities. So the supreme art of war says, if you know the enemy, then you already won, no? Half of the battle. So what the art of war says is that know your terrain, know your enemy, and you will be guaranteed of a win in that particular area. So in this talent landscaping, you try to scout, you try to map, you try to locate where the talents are. So there are certain strategies that you could employ, depending on how you see things best for your operations. Especially if you're an HR person, then of course part of your function is of course ensuring that you understand the talent landscape. Otherwise, you would not be able to identify where to get right. Understanding the great resignation phenomenon and the war on talent shall give you a perspective on what measures you need to put in place to avert attrition and at the same time win the war in the realm of recruitment and employment. So two perspectives, HR people has to understand. You have to know the reason why, great resignation. So why this phenomenon is happening, I've shared that earlier, some of the reasons that are uh, seen, no, as as part of this great resignation phenomenon. Amongst what I shared is actually the Gen Z and the millennials. So of course they are somehow volatile. They move from one company or move from one place to another. And also the age of 40s, 30 to 40s. So understanding the reasons behind, no? And of course having that knowledge of war and talents gives you that advantage again, no? As I shared. It gives you that leverage of being ahead of everyone else when we talk of the recruitment uh, activity, no, for our employers. No? Okay, I have researched, no, top five recruitment challenges. And I like to share this to everyone. So ito, the first is high turnover rate. No? So what most HR professionals fail to realize is that most recruitment challenges start on the day an employee hands over the resignation letter. So the problem is most commonly seen in workplaces dominated by millennial employees. So paulit-ulit na yung stress because this is the generation now that are actually entering na. These are the people that are have been exposed to the COVID pandemic. No? They are the ones that are graduates, no, of this era. So you will be exposed to them. So you have to make sure that, you have to understand, put in place the dynamics that would avert, this high turnover rate. No? So millennial employees will soon occupy the majority of the workforce population as baby boomers. Kami po yan. No? We're already at the, sabihin natin, the tail end of our careers. No? So uh, rethink, reinvent, and revolutionize. So try to ponder on what's best, no? How you can address the high turnover rate. But I will offer some suggestions also to address this. No? But meantime, let's go through it point by point, the five things that you have to understand when you talk of the recruitment challenges. So next to high turnover rate, now, is the failure to attract the right candidates. One of the most common recruiting mistakes is picking the most qualified candidate from a pile of unqualified talents. Many recruiters find themselves moving forward with candidates who are not exactly the best fit for the job for the lack of better options. So what does this say? It only says that, if I shared earlier the landscaping, talent landscaping. So correlating this to that, no, you might be the reason why you are not able to attract as good, as many right candidates or as many good candidates is because you are probably looking at the wrong places. And you end up, having a gamut of applicants that are unqualified. Henceforth, you will be getting, or your tendency, or the result would be, getting the best among the worst. So, of course, if that is not the standards that you want to implement in your company, then you have to understand this particular point. So, I will again offer something, some resolutions later on. But meantime, I'd like to educate everyone on this five points that I have mentioned. No? So the third, no, long time to hire period. So this is common to recruiters. No, a slow hiring process may probably just be a byproduct of the shortage of qualified talents, but is still a challenge many recruiters face nowadays. No? It is a struggle to find the most suitable candidate in a short period of time. Risk plus multiple interview stages, a candidate must surpass before getting the job offer. No? So, longer time to hire period that often drives away potential talents. Let me share this. No, this is actually shared by uh, a recruitment manager. No, from a pharma company. So the process, from talent acquisition officer to talent acquisition manager to talent acquisition vice president and senior vice president and then vice president. And you're talking here of a low position, say for example, an HR specialist. And you would require this person, applicant, to go through that entire process, a five-pronged process. And then for every stage of the process, it takes about, 2 to 3 weeks or even a month before a call can be made. So the tendency is that when you know, compute everything collectively, that equates to 5 months for five stages and a 30-day periodic or a 30-day interval. It results to a 5 month recruitment process. Do you think you will win the ball game? Definitely, the answer is no. People, there's a gamut of employers there. If you're slow, then you won't be able to win, the ball games. Okay. So fourth is lack of recruitment data analytics. So some of the companies, no, data-driven recruiting is an innovation to HR managers in the Philippines. It's important for HR managers to learn how to effectively use the data from tools they are using. However, only 7% of the global population of HR professionals are capable of optimizing their usage of their people analytics. So if you have this kind of application or software or system in your organization, take advantage of it. This is what you call a business intelligence software that allows you to, of course, do the mapping. That it would actually allow you to understand competencies, skills requisite, experience, and all other material aspect that would enable a successful recruitment. Kasi people are complex human beings, and we can only presume of their potential skills, no, of their potential capability. But the analytics would all, somehow give you an indication or an indicator. It serves as an indicator. So there's technology in place. If you have this, take advantage of this. Five, poor candidate experience. Ito talagang nakakainis naman to because, candidates, recruitment challenges, poor candidate experience. Candidates nowadays evaluate their job offers based on their experience during the hiring stage. If recruiters provide poor candidate experience from beginning until end, it creates a bad impact on the corporate branding of the organization. Employers must keep in mind that even if they are planning to reject a candidate, it is important to the end of the hiring process, to end the hiring process properly, nonetheless. Two things in mind that I like to share. For job offer, in the job offer, the candidate would be provided, say, 10% lower than his present. Do you think that that person will, that candidate will accept? Definitely not. So that is sometimes what we fail to see. All information are provided for us to come up with a sound offer. But in such cases, we fail to see that, just because of certain standards in the organization, it will sort of distortion, and sometimes they don't understand what really distortion is all about. Then, of course, they offer the minimum of that particular salary range, which is wrong because the reason why you want to get the best one is because you want to bring in new talents, as shared earlier by Ma'am Tina and Sir Darwin, di ba? You have to bring in, if you want to bring the good ones now in your employment or in your company, then you have to be ready, in giving them an offer that is substantially reasonable. So you have to understand this principle that I always share to my people. You pay peanuts, you get monkeys. So you just interpret what's the meaning of that. Okay. On the other hand, common sa atin, sa HR, is that we fail to regret letters. I don't know if it's because we are Filipinos, no? Or, Filipinos kasi by nature, ayaw nakakasama ng loob. So sometimes, HR people will not even provide an update. I see that all the time in our group. They even say bad things about recruiters, not even saying that they are not hired, diba? Some of the recruiters would not even advise the usual thing, the common line is tatawagan na lang kita. And then, hindi na natin tatawagan. So be mindful naman. That, we have to put closure in every process. And this is what it's all about. This particular point, this is actually telling us about our responsibility as recruiters. Okay, so we move forward, no? Resolving recruitment woes. So a look at possible solutions. Okay, okay. So addressing high turnover rate. What we can do about this? Improve your rewards package and incentive package. No? Technology has made it easier to access a plethora of job vacancies in a few taps. The challenge for recruiters is to make staying more attractive than the idea of job hopping for this new breed of employees. Otherwise, they will have to search for candidates for the same positions all over. So one of the key things that we have to understand, no, is to put in place, no, a sound approach in terms of our total reward. So So, hindi nakita yung isang slide dito, sandali. Sa total rewards, no, you have to put into consideration compensation, benefits, professional development, recognition, and work-life balance. So you have to put in place that particular formula. It's unfortunate that it's not seen in the slide, no, yung middle part, no. But it's about putting in place a sound strategy to enable, of course, retention and avoid, of course, high attrition. So the total rewards, no, nandun lahat, compensation and benefits, training and development, and then also work-life balance. And also we have to put in perspective yung ating mga employee engagement. No? Employee engagement are actually motivational to employees. So if they would, have a feel of being valued and being taken care of effectively, not only on the monetary side, but also on the intangibles, enabling a culture of, sabihin natin, no, a culture of teammanship or a culture of course, family, so to speak. And then they feel, no, that they will feel love, chances are they will stay long. Not for a lifetime, of course, but at least, you invest in them 3, 4, 5 years. 5 years is already a win. But nowadays, it's actually a suntok sa buwan, so to speak. 2 years, I guess, is already a good ROI for us employers and also for you guys. If you have employees who've stayed with you, the people that you've hired stayed for 2, 3 years, that's already a win. So what we can do about build a strong employer brand. So ito, we have to be very sensitive also on this aspect because branding is very important. You have to understand that this actually would help you in, of course, attracting, no, the people that you wish to hire. No? So create a story about your brand. Make sure your message comes across right to your target candidates. No? So this enables recruiters to attract high quality talents who think they can fit into the culture of a culture a company has. Many companies now invest in employer branding to help them ease the struggle of talent acquisition over the years. Having a strong employer brand at the forefront of recruitment is a good strategy in breaking the call center stereotypes and encouraging the right kind of people to choose, for your company. So, branding, very important. So, how we project ourselves as an employer, it's an added ingredient for those, aspirants. And of course, with that, no, we can defeat yung principle of hiring qualified people from a batch of unqualified people. Okay, next, what can we do about this? Cut down unnecessary process in recruitment. Kanina I mentioned yung too long process. So I think we have to study that, no? So many problems in recruitment process can be solved just by making sure that there is an efficient screening process. How you do it, how you go about it, that is your call because this is actually a prerogative and of course the privilege of being a business owner. But you being a proponent, say for example a recruiter, you as a proponent in ensuring efficiency when you talk the recruitment process, enable a process that would not, put so much red tape or whatever you call it, you're only hiring a rank and file or supervisor that takes 5 months. That is not actually a good strategy. The best is that, in the next 60 days, that's a win. 60-day process period, you have a decision that's an advantage. Well, it would always be best, if you're talking about 30, 45-day process. What makes it complex naman kasi is of course we do third party reference checking and this would take time, no? Because of course the references would have to be available when you touch base with them. But in some cases, if you're talking of a lower level position, then I guess shortening the period of the recruitment process would be an attraction, of course, and it would make your recruitment efforts more efficient. Okay, so to avert yung ating tinatawag na challenge, no, on of course wait lang, to avert yung ating sinasabing poor candidate experience. Remember, when the applicant goes to you, there are high expectations. Okay? So when this candidate experience something that is not aligned to how he has perceived things to be, then that is where a problem begins, di ba? So bear in mind the importance of good candidate experience. Treating candidates fairly and properly during the recruitment stage sends the message that you treat all your employees like that as well. So take time to review, develop, and implement a great applicant journey. So make sure that they experience something that is memorable para instead of them saying, walang kwenta yung employer na yan, pangit ng experience ko when I applied, ba? They would say that even though that I wasn't hired, I felt great because I had that experience being processed by a prestigious organization. Di ba? It somehow, you know, makes them feel important as well. In my practice for 30 years, no, I was once an employee myself. An employee myself. And I was on the other fence. There are certain cases that you have arrogant HR people, arrogant recruiters. And then these recruiters actually uh, treat, treated me shabbily at one point in my uh, life, no, an applicant, as an employee. So this should not be this should not be done. We have to take care, no? We have to take care of the people that apply for us, whether they get the job or not. Treat them as humans and make them feel important. Somehow it creates that particular image that you as an employer uh, you know try to project. Okay, so ito, investing in technology. So you have to understand that nowadays, if you are not digitalized, then you are already losing the ball game slowly. So investing in technology helps us have that leverage, no, of being ahead of everyone else. So having a recruitment management software to streamline the hiring process and help the recruiters make better decisions. A great RMS allows the recruitment team to collaborate and keep all candidate data in one place. It's a tool that makes the hiring process organized and efficient, especially in storage data and exploring reports. So, not all employers would be interested in this, but this is, an applicant tracking system in particular. It is a value add. If you can convince your employers to have this, then you will have that advantage because you will have a repository of all the talents and you have business intelligence that would enable identifying talent mapping, identifying the best crop of candidates that you may want to employ. So please consider this if you consider this sharing to your employers, and especially to your bosses, because this is of great value. Okay? So next, lapit na, konti na lang, no? So, final thoughts. Many recruitment challenges depend on the size of the company or the type of roles a recruiter is looking for. HR managers should keep in mind that recruitment has never been about the number of applicants more than it is about the quality of candidates chosen. There should be a balance in the speed and quality of hire, and quality must never be compromised. There will always be challenges encountered along the way, but in the world of human resources, may lagay dito, in the world of human resources, efficiency is the key. So, with that, I end my short talk, and I will be more than willing and happy to entertain questions. So I hope everybody enjoyed the short presentation. So yon. So you can see my contact details there, my email addresses, and my two companies. So Sir Darwin, I transfer the floor to you and Ma'am Tina so we can do a Q&A. So marami pong salamat.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Sir Froilan. Sabi nga ng isang Facebook user natin, ang galing.
Uy, thank you.
Okay, let me just start the ball rolling, Sir Froilan. Now that we are on
Yeah.
the bear season, and a lot of, sabi ko nga, di ba, a lot of companies across industries are hiring now because of additional manpower resource needed during the holiday season. Problem is that whenever you're hiring during the holiday season, limited lang yung market mo kasi ang ino-offer mong contract ay fixed term or project based. Basically, 3 months, 2 months, or 1 month. And maraming mga Pilipino ang or marami sa mga mamamayan, mga kababayan natin ang hinahanap stability kesa magkaroon ng 1 month, 2 months, or 3 months na work. So how would companies, for example, companies that are HR from different companies are listening right now who have offering of fixed term or project based because of the holiday season, how would they be able to source people and convince people that having a fixed term contract or having a what you call this, a project based contract would be appealing to them, kasi tandaan natin yung mga fixed terms sa project based yan, wala yung benefits ng mga companies na binibigay, di ba? Hindi sila pag project based sa fixed term normally, hindi sila kasama doon sa mga major or major benefits sa binibigay na company. So how would you entice them?
Okay. Very interesting question because I am in that ano, realm, no, in that foray, so to speak. The way to go, the first step, no, is because this is a difficult challenge. Number one, there is pressure in terms of time. There's deadlines, no, that has to be addressed because in the bare months, no, starting September or October, the seasonal aspect leading towards the buying season, which is Christmas, you as recruiters have to onboard a lot, no. Uh, One strategy that I would suggest is you try to outsource this. No? Outsource this to a third party service contractor because they would take care of that headache for you. Because in a majority of cases, the agencies or service contractors would already have that tool in place. So, in addition, there are cases that we as service contractors plug one candidate to the next. Say, for example, one candidate would come from another deployment. We can pull out and then transfer. If you are a direct employer, the attraction would be very difficult. It's very difficult to offer something like a 3 month activity because this is not your cup of tea. Eh. It is only a surge of a particular demand by virtue of the season. And, it's very difficult for some of the employers to convey, the opportunity effectively because, uh, it's very difficult to convince, no, them to accept a short-term project. Now, that is a challenge. That is a headache. Pass it on to the experts. The experts are the service contractors. We at PALSCON, the Philippine Association of Legitimate Service Contractors, we have we are nationwide. We are about 200. No, we're very small, but our advocacy is of course legitimate service practices. So you can opt to utilize our members, or you can opt, cooperatives or whatever. No, I'm not promoting the cooperatives, but rather what I'm saying is that you outsource this because these organizations, no, are the experts in terms of massive recruitment activities and short-term activities. In my case, I've encountered one retail company. The demand was so huge, but we were able to deliver. So let us be your paracetamol for your headaches. So it's one way. In the same manner, we talk of outsourcing principle. You outsource what you are not, uh, sabihin natin, experts of. You outsource this mass recruitment, or I call it, parang bulk recruitment. You farm it out to the experts and pay them. Diba? Pay them for the service. Ang admin service fee naman natin, if you understand the 0174, I'm sure alam ni Ma'am Tina yan. Mukhang ano siya eh. She knows a lot about the legal aspects of labor. 10% lang ang admin service fee. That 10% admin service fee addresses already your challenge. So I'd rather pay that, 10% add on to the cost rather than doing it myself and failing in the process and end up losing and not achieving what we wanted to achieve in the first place. So the principle of investing for the right reason should be taken into account. Invest in a partner who will do the outsourcing activity of, say, a search in your demands. Let them, by way of an SMA, let them do this for you. If they fail, then it's the problem. They're answerable to you, right? So I don't know, no, because that is how I see it. Because I've been involved in that particular exercises for so many years. Normally, when they demand, akala mo nga siomay. Pabili ng siomay, 100. 100 piraso. 'Di ba? And then you have to deliver. This is the deadline. You have to onboard to me at least 50% by this particular time. So that is where the rapid activities of recruitment happens when you outsource it. And you just wait for the results. The results would
Mm.
come to you. You just get to read you read those candidates that were provided to you, and then just screen them one time. Next thing you know, deployment happens. So that is
Actually,
the strategy that we see.
a lot of
Yeah, go ahead.
people a lot of employees have a lot of doubts sa mga manpower agencies kasi manpower agencies over the last couple of years have received a lot of flack kasi maraming fly-by-night tsaka scammers. But people
Yeah.
forget kasi na pag legitimate yung manpower agency, they're supposed to source the right people for you. All you have to do is give an
Yes.
order. Para ka nag-order ng
Yeah.
I want 10 burgers, I want 20 burgers. So technically, kung
Yeah.
ilan ang
Correct, correct.
kailangan mong cashier for that period, a good manpower agency should be able to
Yeah.
source that person for you. And for the employee
Yeah.
side naman, the protection of the manpower agency is, while it might sound as if 3 months ka in this company, it doesn't mean na 3 months lang ang employment mo in total. Kasi you are an employee of the manpower agency and not the
Yes.
company itself. So for example,
Correct.
October to December na kay brand A ka. Pero from January to
Yeah.
March, you probably are reassigned somewhere else. So there's continuous employment pa
Correct.
rin. But a lot of
Correct.
companies forget to use the manpower agencies kasi once you fulfill the quota, kunyari, you only need 50 people and you have 50 people, walang umalis sa'yo, technically, you don't really need the manpower agency to source new people for you. 'Di ba? Kasi
Yes.
may mga companies na sa sobrang tagal na, they don't really engage the manpower agencies to source and pull new people, which is supposed to
Mm.
be the reason why people use manpower agencies in the first place. Or parang maybe it's not legitimate, 'di ba? So technically it
Yeah.
is what you call labor only contracting. So
Yes.
parang actually yung principal yung nahihirapan when in fact dapat ang manpower agency yung nagtatrabaho, which is why people pay 10% fee to the manpower
Correct.
agency, 'di ba? So I think that's the
Correct po.
purpose of it, 'di ba?
Yeah.
Ano
And then you
question,
have to,
Froilan?
ma'am, hindi, i-add on
Mm-mm.
ko lang, no, employers who are actually watching right now, make sure that you deal with the legitimate
Legitimate.
service contractors. Hindi, kasi marami yan. Marami po kami, Ma'am Tina.
Ah,
Maraming mga agencies, but we are only few when you talk of practicing legitimate service contracting practices. No? So we
ah,
are abiding and compliant with the labor laws under the DO 174
ah, ah.
rule, no? Yes, ma'am. Go
Oo.
ahead. Sige po.
Kasi dapat kasi may standard din yun na pag kunyari pasaway yung tao na yun tapos binalik mo sa manpower agency, dapat kung legit si manpower agency, they should be able to provide you with a new person, a replacement the next day.
Yes.
But
Correct.
many
Correct.
manpower agencies cannot do that kasi
Mm-mm.
pagkabalik mo sa kanila, maghahanap pa sila, wala silang pool. Which kind of
Oo,
shows
ma'am.
like the what do you call it, the
Mm-mm.
scale of the manpower agency. But my
Yeah.
next question is
Sige
regarding
po.
sa you've mentioned about millennial employees and a lot
Yeah.
of our viewers right now, maraming mga estudyante, right, who are entering the workforce. Sinabi mo kanina that the average day of an employee ng mga mas bata is less than 2 years na. Now, Sir Froilan, kasi you've been in the industry for the last 30 years. So you've
Yeah.
seen parang the quality of employees or applicants from the very beginning up until today. Ako right now when I look at the CV, does it bother you ba na parang it seems na a lot of the applicants nowadays have a tenure per company of parang 3 months, 5 months,
months, 9 months, 2 years. Alam mo yun, parang when they reach to 34 years old, nakasampung company na sila. And it's kind of like for me, it seems like this is a trend. But is it for you a good trend? Kasi parang for me now, if may nakita akong CV na yung applicant nagsistay ng 2 to 3 years at least in a company before they move, parang almost ini-invite ko na yung tao na yun for an interview because napaka-konti nila. Karamihan ng tao, parang a few months lang tapos lilipat na. Is that parang you've mentioned this is a trend, but do you think later on we will revert back that people will stay longer in a company? Kasi sa totoo lang parang nagiging fly by night yung empleyado eh, 'di ba? Parang lipat here, tapos 5 months later
Yeah.
lipat there, tapos lipat there again. Wala pa silang 34 years old, parang naka 10 pages na yung resume nila eh, hindi ba? Which is kind of
I
like, do
think
you want to boast about that? Nandami mong
I,
experience?
I can feel you, ma'am. I can feel you so much because I've been in the recruitment realm for so many years, and
Real
I,
talk
I
tayo, 'di ba? Kasi
yeah,
that's what people are
real talk.
looking, 'di ba?
Number one, let's talk about the millennials. Yung millennials
Or
kasi,
in or in general, yung mga taong hindi tumatagal sa trabaho. Kasi may mga
ah,
boomers din na hindi tumatagal, 'di ba?
ah, kasi, allow me to explain. Point by point. Let's begin with your first question. Millennials. Millennials, no, they want to be heard, but they don't want to listen. That is why
Mm,
that would, forms, some level of disconnection ba. When I say disconnection is that they want to be valued, but they don't want to value. That's why the tendency, in my experience, just this year, I hired, no, they came from good schools, no, I don't want to mention, baka madali ako dyan. But anyway,
Ah.
they would stay 2 months, 3 months. And the
Oh.
worst, the worst part there, itong age bracket na to, then I
Ah.
will jump to the other bracket.
Ah.
Dito, in this particular experience that I've had, hindi pa nagre-resign yan ng formal. Magte-text, sasabihin, una, absent, may emergency. Next, hindi na
Ah.
papasok. Tapos next,
Ah.
magre-resign na po. 3, 4, 5 days
Ah.
after working for, say, 3 weeks to 1 month. It happens. Thorough screening yan, and they will say yes, yes, yes. All yeses, no? To the questions that that you will ask, no? So sila kasi they know how to determine what you want to hear, eh, and then they will tell you. But the truth is that ang downside dito because yung strange mindset, I don't know what has affected their mindsets, eh. Yung pag-resign, tatanggapin naman natin, eh. But do it
Correct.
formally. Hindi yung biglang ayaw mo na, hindi ka na magpaparamdam. And then you invent different kinds of stuff.
Correct.
The next thing you know, may one time nga, iniwan na lang yung laptop at saka cellphone doon sa kanyang workstation. So what kind of a behavior is that? That's why I'm not a fan of this age bracket because with this experience alone, it's
Mm.
talagang mahirap silang i-manage, mahirap pa silang i-retain because I don't know, no, what kind of mindset. There is only one candidate that has been successful and she has been with me for almost a year. Magkakaedad yan. Kahit nung January, mag 1 year na siya. Diba? I'm happy for her. No? Yung managers ko, 15 years, 10 years, 12 years.
Correct. Oo, correct.
Sila
Oo.
yung mga parang boomers na yan. Hindi. Boomer kasi ako eh. Di ba,
Gen
buster
X, Gen
boomer.
X.
Oh.
Gen X.
Gen X sila, Gen X yung mga
Gen
nayan ko.
X,
They're
Gen
still with
X.
me. They're still with me. So, ang sabi nga nila sa amin, the people right now, the generation, they think very different. And they are parang very sensitive. Di ba? When I say sensitive,
Mm.
konting kibot. Di ba? Konting kibot, then,
How do you make me
they would,
happy?
yeah. Parang they expect so much from you, but they don't want to extend anything
Ah.
for you. Parang take, but they don't want to give.
Show me first what you can do for me before I
Yeah.
do stuff for you. Ayan.
Okay, moving forward. So, yun, that's one aspect on your question. The other one, you mentioned about, a resume that has, 1, 2 years, 3 years, or jumping, ano ba yan, 34 years old, tapos 20 employers, parang ganon. Is that what you're
Maraming
saying?
ganun eh. May ganun eh.
Maraming ganyan. Kasi the reason why they are like that is because they believe in the get rich quick in your
Ah,
career principle. So they think that, jumping from one to the next employer because of a better salary, their motivation is purely money. And they will never, kasi that cycle is vicious. Once they start doing that, they will continue doing it. So each time may makita, may job offer 10,000 higher than what they're receiving right now, they jump, they jump, they jump. And they love exploring the job portals. It's their hobby. So to a certain extent, they are good employees. But then again, they will not stay long. Why they are good? Because they are always accepted. Number two, they deliver. They deliver what is required of them. But then again, they love surfing job portals. And when they see that there is something aligned to their credentials, secretly they will send their resume. And then if that process, you know, starts, yan na, mo yan, they wait. Pag nag-offer yan, saka yan mag-iisip, di ba? Ng strategy. Hindi isipin yung strategy paano lumipat eh, kasi natanggap na siya, di ba? Ang iniisip ng strategy, paano kayo iwanan. And you have to be sensitive on that particular cycle. Ah. May mga ganyan. They are quick to jump because of a higher salary. If the employee's motivation is purely money, you can sense that during the interview. Correct me if I'm wrong. If their motivation is money, then chances are they will leave you as well. The same way they have left the other employers they had. So that is the cycle for that particular group of candidates. So, yun po. May third pa tayong point.
no,
I
I
think 2
think
points yung
it
millennial.
depends eh,
Ah,
kasi if bata ka pa, you have more choices, more opportunities. But
yeah.
as you get more mature, you have to be more strategic in your jumping kasi dapat kasi by when you get older, as you get older, your position also has to be a bit higher. The salary level should also be a bit higher, 'di ba? Yung kung magaling ka, then of course your demands will be very much in demand in the market. The problem
Correct,
kasi
correct.
with a lot of the people who are jumping in the Philippines is they jump medyo pa sideways. Similar
Yeah.
role, similar pay, pero different
Um,
company lang. So there's not a lot of strategy
that was
with
what
that
I was
choice.
describing. That is what I was
There's a
describing.
difference
Pero
with
ah,
people
ah,
naman
ah.
who's strategic in their jump. They want to know more, they can contribute, then they jump,
But these ones naman, what
'di
you're
ba?
describing
Coach
right
Darwin,
now,
how do you
they are not,
oo,
these are not the ones that I'm pertaining to. Kasi if there is upward
correct,
movement,
oo.
and the average
There's
is two
upward
to three
movement.
years. Okay yun. You're
Correct.
climbing the ladder strategically. Yung
Career
sideways
progression.
climbing, yung sideways climbing the money, not strategically,
Or
but
may nakaaway
financially.
ka sa company mo,
Ah,
tapos nagalit ka
ah,
sa boss mo, nag-away kayo ng kasama mo, kaya magja-jump ka sa
ah,
kabila, sa
ah,
competitor. Coach Darwin, what do you think sa
ayun.
how do you advise? Lalo na kasi maraming mga estudyante na wondering how to be more strategic in their career progression. Kasi they might fall into a trap in parang being fly-by-night employees. 3 months lang, 5 months lang, parang fling-fling. Tapos after
Mm-mm.
that, iiwanan ka na.
Ako, I've always believed that when you go into the whole recruitment process or onboarding process, you're committing with the company. You're committing into a relationship, diba? And normally, you only sever that relationship if you feel that there is no longer growth for you, and you do not feel that on your first 3 months or first 6 months. Normally,
Oo.
you would feel that on your, let's say, first three
two
to five
years.
years. Yeah. Oh yeah,
Ah,
Mm.
ah.
2, 3, 5 years. If you feel that in the first 2, 3 years you're not growing, you're stagnating, you're not having any major salary increases, or more so any promotion, then you might want to look into other organizations that you would benefit from, or that company will benefit from your own experience. I always
Right.
believe that moving from one company to another is a choice that should be done very carefully, because if you miscalculate your move from one organization to another, yun nga, lalabas sa resume mo, you're jumping from one company to another, and you won't be able to substantiate it. Lalo na kung months lang yan, di ba? And pag mid-manager ka na, ngayon nga, pag mid-manager pataas ka na, 1 year, 2 years, tinataasan ka na ng kilay ng mga senior leaders eh.
Ah,
Bakit 1 year, 2 years ka lang sa company na to? What happened? What major
Oo.
contribution you should have given to the organization being a leader of that department or being a leader of that organization? Yun. So, just make sure that when you enter an organization, um, to all the young professionals here that are listening or watching, and those who will be watching the replay, please make sure that you absorb everything in your organization, all the good, the bad, especially the learnings and the experience, because those learnings, experience, good or bad, will make you who you are in your next step, in your next career move. Di ba? Um, Sir Froilan, ako, palagi ko lang itong sinasabi. I've been observing this for quite some time. Sa mga ASEAN countries kasi, they hire senior citizens for work. 'Di ba? They hire senior citizens for work. Sa Pilipinas kasi hindi gano'n. 'Di ba? We do not hire senior citizens to work in fast food companies. We don't see I'll give an example. Nung nakaraang travel namin ni Tina sa Singapore last
Oo.
August, yung taxi driver ko was actually ano ba siya? Parang C-level na siya doon sa company niya kung saan siya nag-retire. Pero nagta-taxi driver pa din siya. Kasi ang ano niya is, kumbaga, na-reach na niya yung certain status of his career, pero he still needs money. And not only that he still needs money, he wants to be productive. Kasi alam mo naman sa Singapore, mataas yung cost of living. Sa
yeah.
Philippines kasi, I think we have an untapped market of senior citizens, senior leaders that might be able to that we might be able to tap. Pero handa na ba ang culture ng Philippines to actually tap that market?
So, you want me to answer that question, sir? No?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a very interesting question because this is very cultural. When I say cultural, we have a different and a distinct uh, perspective on this, no? As Filipinos. If you notice, sa Philippines lang yung may pork, di ba? It is only in the Philippines where there is pork. Paki or yung ganyan, paki or pakidala po nito, ganyan, di ba? Now, I've been to different Asian countries, no, in the past before COVID. I saw and I've seen, yung mga, anong tawag doon, mga senior citizens, no. So, yes, they can because of course, that is the culture that they have. And remember, sa ibang countries, no, ang mga karaniwan, no, sa kanila is that wala silang pakialam sa mga nanay o lolo at lola. But in our case, hanggang lola, di ba? We take care of them. And even us, right now, we love our parents. And that is why this is the challenge now. If and when we do this, di ba? Our culture will not somehow be able to adapt to such. Kasi ayaw natin mag-utos sa matatanda. That's number one. Di ba? We always think of them as, di ba? Kaya nga meron tayong offer a chair. Dito na po kayo. Di ba? O aakayin, tatawid sa ano. That is the culture of Filipinos eh. And when we, do this of enabling that particular market of senior citizens to work, whatever, sa fast food, impossible. Sa ano, probably BPO. It's something that is viable because you, you just allow them to sit and do the voice activity, di ba? There would be probably specific industries where we can accommodate this on top market. But for, say, activities in the quick service industry or tourism, di ba? Or travel, they can they won't be able to perform as effectively.
Actually,
So,
Actually, Sir Froilan,
Yeah,
ako,
go ahead, sir.
I really feel that it's cultural. Kasi tignan mo ha, if you go to Singapore and Hong Kong at makakita ka ng senior citizen na nagsuserve sa restaurant, normal yon. Pero if you have a senior citizen working, let's say, in Jollibee, ang magiging comment ng mga tao, ano ba yan? Nag-hire sila ng matanda? Hindi ba sila naawa? Yung, di ba, Tina, may mga ganong side
Agree.
comment na,
Agree,
nag-hire sila
agree,
ng matanda,
agree,
hindi ba sila naawa? Ba't pinagtatrabaho pa?
agree.
Ganyan, ganyan. So I
Oo.
think this is something that, but nevertheless, we don't know the story of the person. That
Yeah.
person might need additional income or income that will be able to support his or her
Mm.
living. Kasi ano naman hindi naman magagawa ng government to actually support all of the
Yeah.
elderly people in the Philippines. And a lot of families also, especially right now, na talagang ang taas ng bilihin ngayon, hindi lahat ng families po pwede mag-support ng elderly. What I'm saying is how is this something that hiring managers company should look into to
Actually, I
change
have
that
ano,
particular
oo. Kasi sa totoo lang, sa akin ha, coming from an employer's perspective, actually, I sincerely believe that senior citizens or people who are 60 years old and above, lalong-lalo na sa mga very experienced and very wise, yung tipong they've been through it a long time from the very beginning, ang dami nilang pwedeng ituro, lalo na sa mga mas bata. The only problem why a lot of companies do not hire senior citizens here in the Philippines is only because natatakot po ang company na pag nag-hire sila ng senior citizen, baka maipit sila later on pag may konting disgrasya or nagkasakit or nahimatay yung senior citizen na yon while at the job. Kasi like for example, in Singapore and Hong Kong, the seniors know, for example, that if something happens to them, they willingly and voluntarily engage themselves in employment. So while they will seek financial assistance, they will not seek immense and excessive financial assistance from their companies if in case may nangyari sa kanila. Dito sa Pilipinas kasi kunyari lang, nag-Jollibee cashier ka o nag-waiter ka tapos nadula si senior, hindi yung senior yung magrereklamo. Yung pamilya ni senior ang pupunta dun sa Jollibee branch na yon, tapos iiyak, mag-iingay, sisigaw, and will demand the establishment to pay diagnosis, medical, hospitalization, whatever, rest, and will talaga financially threaten the employer to do that, because we have that tendency minsan of trying to squeeze as much as we can sa employer natin pag nadisgrasya tayo. If the person is able-bodied, there is less of an excuse to do that. Kasi there is SSS and there is PhilHealth and there's Pag-ibig and we still have labor laws. The problem kasi with seniors is employers stop paying for the SSS after a certain age. Meaning to say, kasi there is an addendum in SSS na if you do not pay for the benefits, you are completely liable from the diagnosis up until the recovery of the patient. That's the big problem. And many people, many families take advantage of that. So sabi ko, parang in a way, parang the best way for seniors to get hired, sa akin lang is, pagdating nyo sa interview, lahat pwede. Huwag maarte, chill lang. Kasi minsan, pag nag interview si senior, kasi kailangan kong umupo, kailangan ko rest day ko ganito, kailangan yung pagkain ko, hindi pwede yung kinakain ng communal, dapat ganito, dapat ganyan, kasi I have diabetes. When it comes to that, it's really hard for an employer to hire the senior kasi natatakot sila na parang boss to ang hinahire namin, hindi empleyado, hindi naman pumapasok to para magtrabaho. Naghahanap siya ng tao na mabubudol niya para mag-alaga sa kanya just in case na may mangyari sa kanya. Which is very
Ma-
different from
yeah,
Singapore and Hong Kong. Diba? That's just ano lang.
yeah.
Troy, what do you think?
Yeah, I think no, there are certain industries naman. If you marry both principles, no, looking at the competencies and the capabilities of someone who is of a senior age, di ba? Siyempre, there are industries where the senior citizen can adapt to. That's number one.
Yes.
That's why sabi ko nga, marrying both principles, they might be an untapped market for the BPO industry because sa BPO, voice lang yan. Good English. Di ba? But of course, you have to have that intelligence. Mahirap naman, magaling mag-English, senile naman. Di ba? That's why there are certain limitations. But again, number one, industry has to put in perspective if and when we will consider this idea or this, you know, untapped market as shared by Sir Darwin. There has to be an industry that has to be determined as to where we can position them more effectively aligned to their ages. Because I saw that using sharing Hong Kong, Singapore, Malaysia even. You see them, the old ones, dito hindi pa pwede eh. Because there are certain cultures that and behaviors of Filipinos, di ba, like what the Sir Darwin said, ano ba yan, nagkaan pa ng tanda. I took a flight international sa PAL. Ako, I myself, no? I had that myself. Matanda pa yata sa akin at that time yung stewardess. Then, di ba? So again, there are certain industries where we can take advantage of this particular age group. But there are certain industries that we cannot, no? In particular to what you shared. So, say for example, fast food chain or industry, travel industry, hotel and tourism. They cannot because they would look silly because that's part of branding, which I shared earlier. Gusto mo ba maglagay ng matatanda sa hotel? Di walang pupuntang mga mga patrons, di ba? So again, looking at both perspectives, we just need to understand, where they can be an advantage. It's not gonna be a cut across all industries. It has to be industry specific, where where the risks are lower, no? As you have shared, yung hindi pwedeng matagal na nakatayo, di bigyan mo ng trabaho nakaupo, di ba? But they will be productive, di ba? So they're not allowed to eat ganitong pagkain. Then you have to make sure that if you have a food or a meal for them, then it has to be considered as part of also a strategy and policy in the organization to put in place to ensure that we can accommodate this age group. But again, siyempre, the government, maarte ang gobyerno natin. Maraming dadaanan yan na proseso. Dadaan pa yan sa Kongreso, sa Senate, tapos mag-deliberate pa yan, interpolate. Di ba? But we have laws already on retirement. So pag retired, tama rin yung point ni Ma'am Tina na wala nang entitlement niya sa SSS Philip Pag-ibig because they reach already that age wherein all those social benefits would cease. So, going back to the main question, no, napakaganda nitong usapin kasi indeed it is a untapped market. But we have to determine what specific industry we can actually take advantage of this age group. Ang dami niyan eh. There are plenty. Di ba? So, I guess, no, it's just a matter of really identifying and pushing forward some, points that we can allow our employers, no, to understand that this can be a viable aspect. But we have to make sure that the guidelines are in place and there would be no labor issues, di ba? No labor law issues or challenges. So, may legal, may cultural, di ba? May legal, may cultural. And then, of course, meron din policy if and when it is allowed and if it is not illegal, we have to put in place the policy. Say, for example, you are working in if your company is into a call center activity or a voice support, then they can. I'm sure they can, especially for inbound, just taking calls and making sure that, the calls are addressed, no? Calls from customers are addressed. Very potential.
Seniors
So,
have
yeah.
PhilHealth, so pero wala silang SSS na. We were
Okay,
gonna
okay.
read some of the the comments in the group. Sabi ni Daday Kalahe, yes, yung mga employees ngayon mabilis lumipat, mapagalitan na, magre-resign na daw agad. And then that's what's happening right now. That's a challenge that HR needs to overcome. May hirit pa. Yan ang generation ngayon, mag-resign through text. Wala nang ano. During interview kasi, masisense mo na if magsistay siya or tatagal sa company.
And then there's another one, sir, that says that our experience is that seniors have attitude problems since they're good daw. They believe that they are indefeatable and medyo masungit. Last question before we end the show. A lot of
Yeah.
people are saying about the hybrid setup, but not a lot of companies kasi can offer hybrid or work
Correct.
from home. So, paano na po yung mga company na kailangan report to the office? Parang hirap na hirap ba talaga silang maghanap ng, nahihirapan ba kayong maghanap ng tao, ba-recruit sa mga fully report sa office? Kasi hindi naman lahat ng company kaya ng hybrid eh.
Uh, Can I? Ang ganda ng mga questions. Natutuwa ako. Anyway, hybrid, ganito po yan. In my company, I do hybrid. The strategy that I put in place is that I have to understand, no, as to what are the ones that are required on site, what are the ones that are okay to be done outside. So when I segmentize the functional aspects, if your data, say accounting, admin support, comp and ben, HR, di ba? When you're into agency staffing, kasi meron kami account support and payroll administration. The server is in the office. And of course, by principle of the compliance of the data privacy law, then it has to be confined in the office itself because meron kaming data privacy center. So, for that particular group of functions or positions, then they have to be on-site, 100%. For the hybrid arrangement, my recruitment team, they can work off-site, but I require them to report to the office at least once or two times for our PDCA. Yung sinasabi ko kasi PDCA is Plan, Do, Check, Action. So, every week they're required to, of course, provide me updates, feedback. Ako, every day, I report to office. Because it's, that's me. It's my call and my prerogative. So, on the matter of hybrid, uh, dapat yan, you should not put that as a consideration for employment. You have to understand that before COVID, di ba, everything was on site. The hybrid and the work from home arrangement is a pivot exercise that was implemented to allow business continuity activity or what you call the BCP, business continuity plan, para your company would continue to operate without ceasing even in the existence of that pandemic. It is only a pivot measure to adapt to the demands of the pandemic. Nowadays, it became a standard, as I shared earlier. It became a standard, and it was created in the minds of the people that this is the normal already. When the pandemic is over, which is nearing, no, kasi I am sensing that it is already we are rebounding, no, or bouncing back because traffic na lahat, di ba? So, ibig sabihin, it is safe to go out and there is no reason for you to stay home. There are people who would like to, work on site simply because yung efficiency ng connectivity is far better in the office as compared to their home connectivity. Yan yung nilagay na mindset, yan yung pinagistan nila kaya akala nila normal. Remember, itong hybrid setup is a prerogative that we as employers can mandate or revoke at any given time. There is no law that entitles all the applicants and mandate the employer to provide us hybrid arrangements. It is always bestowed under the principle of management prerogative. So, dapat open ang applicants. And to the applicants or to those who are career aspirants here, do not be choosy. Always bear in mind, the work ethic aspect. Money is a residual effect of hard work. Hindi yan yung first job mo, gusto mo 100,000 na sweldo mo. Sometimes, di ba, I don't know what the schools are teaching these people nowadays. Ang asking daw, pag starting is 20-25 ka agad.
Pwede.
Remember
Pwede
yung,
ka naman
di ba?
mag-ask eh. Pwede ka
Oh,
naman
Sir
mag-ask
Froilan,
eh.
yes.
Sir Froilan,
Yeah.
I remember that I had a talk in the school where the speaker before me said that kasi graduate siya ng school na yun, sabi niya, gumastos ang magulang ko ng 80,000 pesos per sem, tapos ang sweldo ko lang 20,000, papayag ba kayo? So ako naman, yung
Ah,
second ko parang, ano sasabihin ko na sa mga tao? Di ba? it's above minimum and
Yeah.
'di ba?
'Di
So
ba,
I
Pero
think it's
college
really on the
graduate ka pero
mindset.
minimum ka lang,
oo,
'di ba?
Oo,
oo.
correct.
Hindi
You
puwede
always
naman
start on
ma'am na
something. You always start on
oo.
something.
Oh, always start because there is no such thing as 'di ba, kunyari you're talking of a two-story house. You always start with the first tier of the stairs. The first step is required. And when you talk of a career ladder, you always have to have that first step. Wala pong instant na 100,000. Ako po ay naging negosyante at age 32. Nagsimula po ako service crew. I did not complain. I embraced the function of being a service crew in McDonald's. And that is my training grounds that actually paved the way of who I am right now. Yun yung foundations natin, di ba Sir Darwin? There has to be a foundation, hindi yung instant superstar ka na. Na
Sir,
kaagad.
bakit
Yes.
daw kasi sila magiging service crew ng McDonald's kung puwede sila na lang yung customer, 'di ba? Basta makakuha sila ng sweldong mas mataas. Right? Kunyari, Coach Darwin, di ba? If they can get hired sa company mo at 20 to 25, then they will always buy McDonald's pag break
Correct.
nila. Hindi sila yung magpupunas ng
On
table.
a different
Correct.
perspective, ano? Ay, ganda, ganda.
So Sir Froilan, last
Go
words
ahead.
from you regarding this particular topic, and what would you like to say to our listeners and to all the hundreds of people who will be reviewing this replay uh, of our show?
Okay, first, of course, I'd like to thank Tina and you, of course, Darwin. No? You're a highly respectable guy in our practice. No? So I'd like to thank you for, of course, again, inviting me to be a speaker in HR Cafe. And I would love to do this again if there would be some topics that I am, an expert of. So, you know where to reach me. I would always be there. In fact, I'm pondering right now, sana meron tayong face-to-face gathering na ganito, 'di ba? HR cafe pero nasa ano tayo, 'di ba? Nasa isang
Malapit na,
area.
sir.
We will do that. We will do that. You
We
keep
will do
me
that.
you make me a part of the committee. Ah. And for all the viewers, yung mga career aspirants, I would share to you that nothing is instant. You have to start somewhere. Again, what's important is that you have to discover your passion. And once you discover that passion, use that to your advantage. Make it as your starting point in identifying a career that you would like to choose and hurdle no, or traverse. Kasi sabi ni Robert Kiyosaki, di ba, passion is the beginning of success. So, dapat yan, identify your passion, take advantage of that passion, and you will never have to spend a day in the office. It's just playing and yet you are being paid. Tulad namin ng mga HR lovers. Di ba? We embrace the HR practice and we are where we are right now, but we started somewhere way back. It requires time before you reach that particular stage in your career where the returns are great. Tama ba, Ma'am Tina and Sir Darwin, di ba? I'm
Agree,
making
agree,
sense naman, di ba? Nothing is
agree.
instant. So, yon. So, again, no, I hope the viewers have learned something from what I've shared. And it's
And
fun.
Sir
I
Froilan,
like
how
the
can
question.
they
Yes.
reach out to you for services? If they would
Oh,
like to
yeah.
invite you, if they would like to have you as a speaker, or if they would like to tap your company as a resource for the upcoming needs of their own companies.
Okay, so I flashed here in the screen, no, my email address. Dalawa po yan, email addresses, no, one for HR Network, pag headhunting po ang gusto nyo. Pag outsourcing, Polyserve Philippines po. So for my number, you just jot it down. I didn't put here, no? It's 0917-539-3358. So I'm just a text away. So if you need help, you need a mentor, then over and above Sir Darwin and Ma'am Tina, I will be here for you guys.
All
Thank
right.
you, Sir Froilan.
Sa akin naman, my last words to the employees is this, lalong-lalo na sa mga mag-fresh graduate. When you apply to a company,
always think about what type of reputation do you want to paint, not just for this current employer, but also for your future employer. Kasi if you're graduating at the age of 22, I can already tell you, sa mga middle age, that's 20 years. But sa senior age, it's 40 years later. So 40 years is a huge amount of time for you to work. And the working experience is not a sprint, it is a marathon. So
Sama.
while marami kang offers na makukuha ngayon as a fresh graduate, mataas ang makukuha mong sahod, if you do not manage your career properly, ergo, lipat ka ng lipat, hindi ka nagpapaalam ng maayos, you're always burning bridges. 1,000% by the time you are in your late 20s, that type of behavior will follow you and you will feel the consequences of being a fly by night employee. Kahit maganda ka, napakatalino mo, napaka-competent mo, ang dami mong potential, if hindi ka tumatagal sa isang company, most recruiters can sniff that out later on when you're in your 30s or 40s and they will not hire you. That means, as a car, for example, kahit na sports car ka, bagong-bago ka, hindi mo inalagaan yung kotse mo, pagdating mo sa gitna, mawawalan ka ng gas at wala nang tutulong sa'yo, wala nang kukuha sa'yo. And remember, your working experience is not until you're 40 years old. It is until you are 60, 65, 70. Long, long way to go. So manage your career responsibly. Sa mga taong nasa recruitment, as you can see now watching our show and reading all the comments, you are not alone when people do not show up for interviews. You are not alone when people are not professional as before. Let us stop complaining about the quality of employees and just enjoy the fact that it happens only in the Philippines. All right? If that is the case, ganun talaga yung recruitment policies natin wherein talaga it's becoming the labor market is not as professional. What we can do instead is, instead of being very frustrated with people who don't show up to interviews, people who come up with crazy excuses, people who actually show up to orientation, nag-sign na ng job offer, tapos nag-resign kasi may better offer out there, instead of complaining about all these employees, let's instead focus on the employees who do show up and who do stay within your company and perform. These are the ones that we need to look after and value. Wag nating don't let us not complain about the guys or the girls that went away. Alam mo yung mga flings? Instead, let us focus more on the people who stay behind and are with me day in, day out. Kasi these are the people talaga that you have to value. Okay lang kahit manloloko yung ibang tao, nag-aawol yung ibang tao, kasi ibig sabihin yung mga taong hindi nag-aawol na sumisipot araw-araw, yun talaga yung para sa'yo at yun talaga yung dapat alagaan ninyo para hindi na kayo maghanap ng bago at kahit umalis sila for personal reasons, babalik pa rin sila kasi okay kayong employer, 'di ba? Because attrition rate only happens when attrition rate is normal in any company, good or bad. People will move out, people will change countries, but don't worry, pag para sa'yo talaga sila, babalik at babalik talaga sa'yo ang mga empleyado na yon kahit na umalis sila sa'yo. O, di ba? So with that, I hope that do not be too depressed. It's recruitment is not easy nowadays. But if you're having problems, consider hiring Froilan and Polyserve Philippines for your outsourcing needs. All you have to do is pay Froilan 10% of agency fee and he will pool and source employees for you. Coach Darwin?
Yes, the war on talent is real, and it's always been like this in the from the last decades. Talagang ano this is something that a lot of companies are investing a lot of money, millions, just to upgrade facilities, processes, tools to be competitive in hiring the right people, in sourcing the right people, and be able to onboard the right people. What as an HR professional, I think we should always need to understand that we need to always think outside the box. What are the things that we can do to really source the right talent for our organizations, and not only source and hire for the right talent, but also sabi nga ni Mentors Tina, take care of the talent that is already with us, because that pool of talent is something that is already our ambassadors, di ba? So again, I'm very happy that Sir Froilan has been with us today. He was able to provide us with informations about how to win this war on talent. And I hope that everyone who's listening, who's watching, and who will be uh, watching the replays of our show, our episode for today, would be learning a lot, just like us. So maraming salamat po. And again, we'll see each other again next week for another episode of the HR Cafe, Usapang Trabaho, Buhay, Iba Pa. Bye everyone. God bless. See you next week.
Bye.